Good morning, everyone. We're just going to wait 2 more minutes for any latecomers, and then we'll start in earnest. We'll start and pick it up really fast. Okay, I think we'll start because we have a lot of exercises to get through. Welcome to this session. We're going to do a number of exercises that you can do at your work. So the idea is that I go through, there's probably about 7 exercises in here that will help you along the employee journey. That is the whole idea. We're going to be focusing on principles of emotional intelligence, and we're going to start with a bit of a quiz about hormones. So what you should find there should be 2 per group. The idea is that you connect the card with the description. So there are 5 sheets that have blue descriptions like this, and you have to match the name of the hormone to the description. The first team to get it all done wins some chocolate. Let's go! Okay, everyone, you've got about 2 minutes left. 2 minutes left. When you've done it, when you've completed it, raise your hand. You could be the winning team. Woo, okay. So we have one group that's finished. Thank you. We're going to wait a moment for the others. And if you've got them right, you could be getting some nice chocolate. How are we doing here? All good? Good progress, good progress. Okay, you've got 1 minute left. 1 minute left. The other teams? You're doing well. So when the time is up, I'm going to hoot a hooter. It's going to sound annoying, but at least we all know time is up. Have you finished? You finished? You've tried it. Okay, that's fantastic. Okay, gentlemen, how are you doing? Have you finished?
Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully, yeah. Okay. So, we're all done. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the answers. No cheating, no moving things around. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you sure? Okay, ready. These guys over here think they've got it all right. So let's see. Did you get these matches? Did you get them correct? Were you correct? Well done. So these guys were first. Did you get them all correct? Oh, not to worry. Let me explain. So you get some chocolates. Which one would you like? Which one would you like? You did very well. Which one of the two? Which one would you like? Okay, well done. Good. So let me explain why I've asked you to do this. Ultimately, every human, all of us, have a whole bunch of emotions that drive our behavior. What we know is that cortisol is a stress hormone, and your employees will be affected by a lot of cortisol if they feel uncertain, if they feel nervous, if they feel anxious. We also know that adrenaline can be very helpful, but if adrenaline is used too much, it's actually really bad for you. We also know that dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin are good hormones, and you can create those hormones by doing really simple things, like saying thank you. Don't ever underestimate saying thank you and giving feedback and acknowledging the work that's done. Don't ever underestimate setting out expectations for a particular task, because people will feel more reassured. A quick show of hands here. How many of you have received thanks from their manager recently? Wonderful. Now that's great. So when you receive the thanks, be aware that you can give that thanks to other people too. It's really important. Okay, thank you. So I just want to say what I'm teaching you now has come from about 25 years of learning, understanding, practicing, and being coached. This is Daniel Goleman. Daniel Goleman wrote a book about 25 years ago, which made it very easy to understand what emotional intelligence was. He didn't invent it. It was actually invented a number of years before, but he popularized it because he was a journalist at the time. So I'm qualified with him. So you're hearing this stuff that should be really helpful. Just for the clarity, when we talk about emotional intelligence, I use the reference from Daniel Goleman. Recognizing and understanding emotions in yourself and others, and your ability to manage your behavior and relationships. Where do you think empathy fits with emotional intelligence? And I'm going to pass the mic to you to invite you to comment. Where does empathy fit with emotional intelligence, do you think? What is empathy? Any ideas? Oh, here, can I pass you the mic?
Okay. I think empathy allows you to connect with others by understanding their feelings, trying to connect with their emotional state of mind. So I think it's create that connection by telling people that you understand what they are going through, you understand their circumstances. This is how I look at empathy.
So what you've said is that empathy helps you understand what others are going through. So we need to be careful with that, because we need to be sure that we understand our own emotion first in order to recognize what is going on with the other person. Because very often it's the case that what we think we see in the other person is actually our own feelings. Does that make sense? So what we're going to do now is talk for a moment talk for a moment about the 12 competencies that are in emotional intelligence. Now, this QR code will take you to an article in the Harvard Business Review, which is all about the 12 competencies of emotional intelligence. So if you'd like to take a picture of that, you're very welcome to read it at your leisure. Emotional intelligence is a journey. I'm still on that journey. It's going to take you about 3 months in order to get to a point where you have emotional understanding of yourself. And then you continue on to self-management, on to relationship management later. So what I'd like to do now is invite you to reach down underneath your chairs and find a box. Okay, so before I tell you how to use these, I'm just going to explain very quickly. These are the work of an ex-professional cricketer in New Zealand because he believed that people do want to talk about emotion. People want to be able to express themselves, but they don't know how to do it. So he invented this card game to help people talk about how they're feeling. This box contains white and black cards. They have words on them. Great. What I'd like you to do now is to pick out up to 5 cards on how you would like to feel at work. So from all of the cards that you have, pick just 5 cards that are the words that describe how you want to feel at work. How does that sound? So from the whole deck, just pick out 5 cards that describe how you want to feel at work. So you can pick them from the white or the black. One quick hint though, one tip, the white cards have less positive meaning. The white cards have less positive meaning generally. The black cards have more positive meaning. And that's done intentionally. Welcome. All okay? Yes. Great. So how would you like to feel at work? You're going to pick 5 cards. And when you've picked those 5 cards, we're going to have a discussion about it. This is very difficult for many people because they end up picking out about 20 cards because they can't get it down to 5. So, just 5 cards. And it's possible that the white cards will be, is it actually might have it the wrong way around. I think that the black cards are likely to be the ones you might pick because the white ones are less positive. I think I might have given you the wrong information earlier. So again, this is your choice. This is how you would like to feel at work. Okay, you've got another 3 minutes. Now, the amazing thing about these cards is that if you go to Riders and Elephant's website, you can get a low resolution version of this for free. So you can get this, and I can send this on to you at the end of this session. Because these boxes of cards cost about $100 each, so they're quite an investment. But you can get a low resolution version, print it out on your printer at home or at work, and use those. Okay, how are we doing? So up to 5 cards. Have you picked 5 cards? Well done. Brilliant. Have you picked 5 cards? You're all done?
This is how I feel now.
This is how you feel?
How I hate to feel.
Okay, thank you. Welcome. Let me see if here are some cards. There you go. Okay, we're going to give you 1 more minute. I know it's a big job. 1 more minute to pick your cards. I'm going to invite some of you to tell me what cards you've picked if you feel comfortable to share. And we'll have a conversation. You finished? Fantastic. We'll also talk about the practical ways that you can use these cards at work, because you can use these cards in about 25 different ways. I've got to 25 different ways so far. There's probably more. So what I'm going to do, let's just check the time. Yeah, okay. I think we'll stop there. Let's stop there with whatever we've got. Can I invite someone to share the words that they have picked? Perhaps I could ask someone here. Would you be willing to share? Okay, so make sure you get close to the microphone.
Okay, I'll do my best. Okay, so for the first one, I have choose to be welcomed. So it will be nice if I can feel like people are waiting for me to come to the office. People would love to see me at the office. Inspired by others, inspiring others as well. Energized so I can give more and get more. Connected with the business and connected with the team as well. Appreciated for doing all of these for. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Anyone else like to? Thank you very much. Anyone like to share which the 5? Thank you very much. So make sure you speak up.
So I chose confident. I like to always be confident and speakful. Compassion. Yes. And unique. Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Could I invite someone from this group perhaps to share your 5? You. Would you like to share?
Should I just say the keyword?
Yes, please.
Inspired, joy, energized, equal, and daring.
Wow, thank you. Okay, a volunteer from this group. Okay, go for it.
Okay, so I have proud, encouraged, connected, helpful, and confident.
So it's a very, very simple exercise. So simple, would you agree? The fact is, you can use these when you bring new people to your organization. You can ask them, how would you like to feel when you work here? But here's the really important part. They need to tell you what they need in order to feel that way. And you need to explain how you'll help them feel that way. Because it's important that it's a dual thing. It's not just for the manager to do something. It's up to the employee to create that for themselves. Very often in organizations, we say, well, my manager didn't do, and my team leader didn't do. And my question is always, what did you do? We have to take responsibility for this. So that's one way. When you start a team exercise, when you start a new project, you can decide as a group of people how all of you want to feel. If you want to feel connected, inspired, recognized, welcomed, and then you make a charter. You write down what you will do in your project to ensure that everyone will feel that way. Because what we know is that everyone feels differently about different things. We know that. We know that from the neuroscience. You could also use these cards in one-to-one conversations. So when you're having feedback, when you're having updates with your team, you can say, this is how I feel about how you're working. How do you feel about how you're working? And when you look at the two different sets of cards, you can have a good conversation about what needs to happen in the next 6 months to make things better. This is primarily about emotional self-awareness. Emotional self-awareness is the cornerstone of all emotional intelligence. The final thing that's actually kind of the first thing I should have said, which is the strategy. Your organizational strategy, your operational strategy, you can ask your staff to decide, how do we want to feel as an organization about our work? Now, this is work that I've done with organizations in England, and the gentleman who designed these has done this work with the army, with prison service, with the police, and he has created these emotional cultures where everyone understands how they feel. Because what we know is if you feel good, you behave better. If you feel bad, it's difficult to behave well. We do it, but it's exhausting. So these are the emotional culture deck, and this is riders and elephants. It's riders and elephants. So you can find them online, and you can get a low-res version if you want to. If I can ask you to pack those cards away, that would be great. Let's move on to our next exercise. Okay, so this is a very quick exercise, this next exercise. And this is based on the chimp. You may, if you saw my keynote yesterday, you heard me talk about how the oldest part of the brain is the emotional center. And if things aren't going as we expect them to, our chimp goes berserk, and we find that we behave in fight, flight, or freeze. And then sometimes we regret the way we've behaved because we have reacted, we haven't responded. So I'm going to invite you now to have a conversation in your group about something specific. I'm going to tell you a story. I'm at work, and I'm quite happy. It's a lovely day. It's England and it's sunny. It's quite rare. And I'm getting on with my work, and an email comes through. And this email is in uppercase. And the email is really angry. And the email is telling me, you should have done this. Why did you not do this? And I'd done it. I'd actually done the work. But the email makes me angry. Because something called emotional contagion. The energy from the email is angry. I feel angry. So imagine that is you. You have two choices. What do you do? Do you email back immediately, or do you wait a few minutes and breathe and then respond? Have a conversation in your groups and be truthful, please. What do you really do? Have a conversation in your groups for a minute. What should you do? What have you done? And then let's talk about it. Had to do that, sorry. Okay, so you've had conversations in your groups, you've had honest conversations in your groups. Who would like to share what you were discussing? Would anyone like to share? Some people are still talking. Would you like to share? Would you? One more input. Who would like to share? Shall I? Okay, please. That's fantastic. Thank you. Make sure you put the mic close.
It depends on. Sometimes I choose the number one, email back immediately. Then I regretted about it. Because maybe my anger management. But when I took the second one, this is the good choice for me.
Thank you. So what you've said is you have done number one and you tried to do number two, and number two is better for you, I think is what I heard. Anyone else like to share? Oh, thank you very much.
We said that the answer may depends on different factors, like the person, the subject, the time, how I'm feeling at that time. So it may be number one, and it may be number two. So.
Thank you. So you're saying it depends on the time, who it is, what it is, and the person. Ooh, we'll come back to that one. Would anyone like to share? Put the mic quite close.
I wouldn't do either one. Yes, I would usually just pick up the phone and say, why are you angry? I have already sent it. Take it easy. I usually don't get angry that easily from clients, so that's very simple for me.
Fantastic. So you have given the best answer. Thank you very much. I didn't put that answer in because I wondered if anyone would come up with it. So one of the best ways to dispel the issue is to pick the phone up. Now, when you pick the phone up, you have your voice as an emotional tool that can help to connect with people, and it can immediately dispel the issue. Immediately. As long as you're calm when you make the call. Because if you make the call and you start shouting, that won't be very good, right? No, it's not going to work. The fact is, when we react, it's our amygdala, it's our emotional core that is doing all of the work. We are in fear, we are threatened, and we come from the wrong place. And honestly, I know that you know this, I have had to apologize profusely when I've emailed back. I learned very early in my career that I can prevent the development of a relationship because I damaged it by emailing back. So thank you very much for your comment on picking up the phone. But breathing is incredibly powerful. Now I'm going to ask you to do something. It's up to you if you want to do it. I'm going to invite you to stand. I'm going to invite you to put your hands on your hips. Hands on your hips. And put your feet hip distance apart. So I'm a bit short. So your feet are hip distance apart. You put your hands on your hips. You stand upright, like there's a piece of string at the top of your head pulling up to the ceiling of this building. Hands on your hips. Great. Now what you're going to do is you're going to breathe through your nose and out of your mouth. And you are going to feel your power, your impact. You're going to feel all the cells in your body tingle. You're going to feel amazing. You're going to feel positive. When you practice this at work, you should do it for 2 minutes. I'm going to invite you to sit down now if you'd like to sit down. If you do this for 2 minutes, it will change your mental state. This is a technique by a lady called Amy Cuddy, who is an American researcher, and it's called the power pose. I invite you to practice this because here's the amazing science. Your body is in panic because your breath is short and it's rapid. We all know this. When you slow your breathing down and you feel all the cells vibrate energetically and positively, your body tells your brain, everything's fine. She's totally fine. Why are you panicking? Why are you angry? Why are you threatened? You feel good. The power pose has saved me a number of times. And it is very, very helpful before you're about to give a big presentation or you're going to have perhaps a challenging conversation. Standing upright, hands on hips, pulling to the ceiling and breathing tells your brain, you have got this. I would encourage you in your teams, with your colleagues, with your staff, to practice this because it helps them to overcome any nerves, any anxiety, and they will give you their best work, I promise. All good? Amy Cuddy, power pose. So, the next thing I'd like to do is invite you to consider questions that you might ask yourself. What I have here are a series of cards. I'm just going to give them out. Please just take a card, and when you've taken a card, then read it. Don't choose the card and then pass it on. Is that okay? Ready? So just take the card from the 5 that I'm giving you. There's going to be too many there. Welcome. So take a card. When you've got a card, turn it over and read the question. So turn the card over. So take a card, turn it over to the right side. So it's the white side, yeah. So when you've taken a card, then turn it over. On the white side is a question. On the white side is a question. Now this is taking employee experience to another level. Because when we interview people and when we work in our teams, would you like a different card? Okay. So when we work in our teams, we know what tasks we do, but do we really know the people who we work with? Do we really know? And so these cards, there's 52 in a pack, and you can use these cards to ask one another questions and also to reveal something about yourselves. Why is it helpful to find out something new about your colleagues? Why is it helpful to find out something new, something a bit deeper about your colleagues? What do you think?
Maybe it makes us feel connected, understanding each other.
Fantastic. Connected. You find out more about one another. And what we know is that when employees are feeling connected to one another, they get on better, they do better work, they're more creative, they're more innovative, because as a species, humans love to connect. They want to find commonality, they really do. They want to be able to say, yeah, I think that, or, oh, that's interesting, I didn't know that about you. It brings a different dimension. So these cards are, I can send a link for these cards. There are 2 sets. So there is an entrepreneur in London who created these. He really likes himself. He's very fancy. And he produced 2 lots of these. And the answer to the questions are on the QR code at the back. But I'll send you a link to these. I would invite you to use these cards at interview. If you want to find an answer, find out more about the people who you're about to recruit, you can ask them to choose a card. But these questions are far better than saying, give me an example of when you did this job. It mixes things up. It helps them understand that you are interested in them and how they think and how they feel. You can also use them to help you journal. So you might pick a card and decide, I'm going to journal about that. Let me explore myself. Let me understand how I feel about certain things. So we're not going to do an exercise on this, but I am recommending this book to you. The history of breath and the role it plays in our entire health is explained in this book by James Nestor. He is an amazing researcher and scientist. This is one of the very few books I picked up and I could not put down. I was reading like that. It's incredible. Understanding the power of your breath and how your breath impacts your entire body is hugely helpful. And what you can also do, if you wish to, you may already practice this, is mindfulness. Taking a moment to breathe again, but to calm your mind. Now, if you're able to, I'm going to send you an article from the Harvard Business Review. If you are able to find silence for 5 minutes, I know it's difficult, particularly if you've got a load of kids, it's never going to happen. 5 minutes. What it does is it restores your nervous system. Our nervous system is on alert all of the time. And if we can take 5 minutes of silence, no sound, maybe get some ear defenders, then you will restore your nervous system. You'll know this saying, I'm pretty sure. It's critical because when you have the awareness of knowing how other people feel as a consequence of you, you will know how effective you are in emotional intelligence. This is not about you, this is about them. And you know it. The phone goes and it says, Tom. And you think, oh no, not Tom. And then it says, Nancy, yeah, I'm going to take that call. She's lovely. I really like her. Tom gives me aggro. So you know how people make you feel. Be precise. Decide how you want people to feel with you. Do you want them to feel valued, significant, happy? How are you going to do it? Be consistent. I talked about this briefly yesterday. We confuse the matter of empathy. Very often we ask these questions, and what you see from these questions are I. What I'd like to do now is invite you for a second to think about this use of language. Help me understand how you feel. I hear you. Describe this in your own words. How can I support you in this? Have a conversation very briefly in your groups and be truthful. How often do you say to someone, I know how you feel, rather than, tell me, how do you feel? Help me understand. Have the conversation, please, in your groups. When do you use this language, and how can you use more of this language? 2 minutes, super fast, in your groups. So how are you going to use this language more often? So the purpose of this exercise was to... All good? The purpose of this exercise was to plant seeds, to try and make you conscious of you, and to try and get you not to think about I quite as much. All good? So I've sown that seed now, so let's get that seed to grow. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to play a little game. We're going to play a little game. You're going to need a pen. Has anyone got a pen? I've got some pens. Okay, one for you. One for you.
Do you need the cards?
Pen, great. Just a second. One for you. You can work as a team. Have you got a pen? Do you need a pen? A pencil. Okay, good. Okay, this is super fast. Super fast. This is what we would call a word search. And so what you're doing is super quickly, you are finding these words in this puzzle. So because of time, the first group to find the first 2 words will win some nice chocolate. So you need to find the first 2 words in this puzzle. Super fast. First group to get it, get some chocolate. It's nice chocolate. I brought it from England. Or if you want to find any of those, but just 2 of them, super fast. Oh, you've done it. Fantastic. You found 2. Bravo. Okay, well done, well done. So the completed puzzle looks like that. You were too late. Sorry about that. The girls beat you. So let me get some chocolates over to you. Here you go, ladies. Bravo. Well done. Okay, so this is a bit of fun, but it's about a very, very serious problem. It's a very serious problem. And the reason why I've done this and made it a bit of fun is because we have to recognize the symptoms of burnout before they get really bad. And so the symptoms of burnout include all of the things that you saw on your sheet. Headaches, lack of satisfaction, irritability, lack of empathy, lack of appetite, withdrawal from social situations, lack of concentration, and lack of motivation. When people are fully burnt out, it can take them months, if not years, to recover because their nervous system is exhausted. We have to recognize this because a high percentage of people are feeling this. So there's something like 35% in the US are talking about feeling burnt out. And the use of emotional intelligence to even use these cards. How are you feeling? How are you feeling? They need to describe to you. You need to ask them great questions to ensure that their workload is managed well. That if they have anxiety, they can talk to you about it. If they feel nervous or confused, they can get clarity from you. It's really important. Thank you for partaking in that exercise. So this is another bit of fun. What I'm talking about here are leadership styles. So this is actually Daniel Goleman's 6 leadership styles. And the way, it's actually a massive paper, again, I'll share this with you, but I'm inviting you to have a discussion in your group about how you like to be led. And the 6 different leadership styles include these. As a leader, I say to you, do what I tell you. Some people like that, some people don't like that. As a leader, I would say, come with me. Some people like that, some people don't like that. Some leaders say, people come first, and I behave that way, and I treat you that way. Some leaders say, what do you think? They're quite collaborative. They consult you. Some people like that. Some people don't like that. Do as I do it now. Again, another leadership style. And the final of the 6 is try this. So my question to you, my invitation is, of each of those 6 different questions or statements, which one do you like most? Which one do you like most? Do you like a leader to say, what do you think? Or do you like your leader to say, do what I tell you? Please have a conversation for a few minutes in your group and talk about which of those do you like most. Some minutes now, go ahead. Remember, this is what you like most often. All of these 6 could be applied at any time, depending on the circumstance. But which one do you prefer most? That's what I'm asking. What do you like most?
ما اشتغلت لسه صح؟ لا مسكرة لسه.
Okay. So, would anyone? It's happening again. Would anyone like to share what they have discussed? Would anyone like to share what they've discussed? So there's a comedian in England who's called Norman Collier, and the joke saying hilarious, right? Who would anyone like to share? To share. Do you want to go up to the thing and talk on that? Let's. Oh no, King, no, not. Do you want to go to there?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, I was thinking in my way. I will start as a leader. I will start to how do you think, and also I would like my leader to ask me how do I think, and then after I listen to the agent or whoever I'm talking with, if I see that he's not seeing the picture as I saw, then I will try that. So what do you think if we can try this steps? It will be better. Mixture. So I will mix both.
Okay, thank you. I think we're just going to move on. So the point of mentioning this is that this is absolutely about using the appropriate leadership style at the right time. Because situations do dictate that sometimes you have to say, do this now, because it's an urgent situation. And other times it might be, try this. But leaders who practice the skill of emotional intelligence know who in their team like to be led in certain ways. They know it because they have asked questions, they have observed, they have listened carefully. Now, certainly me, I always wanted to have try this, but some of my leaders were not emotionally intelligent and they would say, do this now. Emotionally intelligent leaders have this knowledge and they use the right leadership skill with the right people. So, what have we done today? We've talked about what emotional intelligence is. I've invited you to consider what hormones are and why we need to ensure that people in our trust, people who we manage, people who we lead, our employees, feel less cortisol and more oxytocin and serotonin. We can do that by thanking them and by recognizing their efforts and being specific. We can tell them by writing them a card, handwriting them a card. I still have a thank you card from 22 years ago because my Director General gave it to me because she recognized it. We have talked about emotion and how you would like to feel and how you are responsible, and so is your manager, on how you want to feel. You can use those cards. We've talked about burnout very quickly, but recognizing what those emotions are before you get to ultimate burnout, because that's not what you want. I have shown you the Amy Cuddy power pose, and thank you everyone for doing that. You didn't have to, but you did. All praise, all good. Thank you very much. Now I have one final thing. I'm looking at the time, it's quite close. I have one final invitation for you, but it will require you perhaps to have a nasty taste in your mouth or a nice taste in your mouth. Would you like to play this game? Yes, okay. So be warned. These are either going to taste nice or they're going to taste very nasty. Okay, so if you have any allergies at all, do not eat these. I'm not insured for you to go to hospital, okay? Right, so the idea is that 2 jelly beans look the same, one tastes nice and one tastes nasty. Please go ahead and eat your jelly beans. Oh dear, it's hilarious. I've never eaten these. People are like, oh, have you eaten them? No. Okay, so my final comment to you, and this is really important. I need your attention. I need your attention, please. My final comment to you is, your employees, the people who work for you, want to give you their best work. They want to do well. They want to progress. They want to be brilliant. If you give them a bad experience, it will taste as bad as one of these horrible sweets. It will never leave them. We all remember bad managers and bad organizations, and we also remember wonderful organizations and amazing managers. So be the nice sweet. Do not be the nasty tasting sweet. Be the nice sweet, because that taste covers your whole body. This isn't just about the mind, it's the whole body. Thank you so much for being fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. If you have any questions, we'll perhaps have a conversation after, because we have to change the room. But thank you most wholeheartedly for your participation. Good luck.